around,
Can we play Banker next
and I
time?
know just the tune to accompany them, if you wish to hear it.
Exactly, but none of them believed me. There'll be an extra fee for that. I'll think about it.
for this journey.
I'll think about it. But none of them believed me.
I'm really not accustomed to using a vision. Oh, why don't you teach me? I nearly forgot. You've never used a vision either. The strength... Yoo-hoo!
Exactly. But none of them believed me.
Now, there'll be an extra thing or two.
Yep, you're right.
Exactly. But none of them believed.
Let me try my blade.
Take your true form. Shower me with praise.
Way now.
Wind strike.
Yoo-hoo!
Starting to get a little chilly. No backup, huh? Fine by me.
I'll treat your wounds.
I knew you'd miss me.
Let me try my
Clouds high. The birds call.
A bitter pill to swallow.
Let the world collide!
A moment, please.
Remember, health comes first.
taste my blade.
One with nature.
I'll treat your wounds.
Stay close and you will live.
What's one more?
Shower me with praise!
There is no escape! Torn to oblivion!
The doctor will see you.
This. Let me try my blade.
Shine down!
Seems like an emergency.
Time to shine! Yoo-hoo!
Silence!
Cheap tricks.
Let the mighty be humble!
Mind the side effects.
Solidify!
As one with wind and cloud. Wind strike.
Going in!
Now disappear.
This is order! Stabilize!
Into the wind.
Everybody stand back! I knew you'd miss me.
Time to go.
You followed us a long way. Why don't you come out and introduce yourselves?
So you're Linny. And where's your sister? Ain't she with you today? Save us the trouble and go fetch her for us. Let's not drag this out.
Paimon doesn't like the tone of your voice, mister! Who sent you, huh?
Save your questions, missy. You ain't gonna need answers where you're going. Capiche?
Looks like we can't avoid this fight. Now, I'm not the strongest fighter, so I hope you're ready to back me up.
Don't worry, we got this!
Strike a pop!
Wait now. Curses. They're tougher than we thought.
Vision wielders are always trouble. Intimidation ain't gonna work like it did on the lady.
Come on, let's scram!
Hey, wise guys! We ain't through with you yet! Oh, they got away! Did you catch what they said just before they left? Something about intimidating someone else. Sounds like they just wanted to rough us up as a scare tactic. And they've already done it to someone else, but who? You're right. She was injured when we saw her yesterday, and she acted like she had something to hide. Maybe she was too scared to tell us the truth because those guys had threatened her.
Well, if that's the case, she should be more willing to open up to us once she learns that those thugs won't be bothering her anymore. Let's head back to the cafe and see if we can get any information from her.
Gemma?
You again. What is it this time?
We just ran into the men who've been threatening you, and we gave them a taste of their own medicine, so you can relax now. We're here to protect you.
What? Why? I didn't tell you anything. Why would they come after you?
Sounds like they're no strangers to you.
That's putting it mildly. I know them all too well, and I hate them with every fiber of my being. It's been 10 long years, and still every time I try to look into Caesar's death, they show up and warn me not to do anything stupid. How do I know I can trust you? Do you really think you can get to the bottom of it all? And why are you doing this?
I'm afraid I can't reveal all the details just yet, but I can promise you this. I will expose the Phantom Weasel's true identity. Because you see, this is a personal matter of the utmost importance. I give you my word. Trust me.
Okay. How can I help you?
I've heard that Caesar used to have a magic workshop where he kept a lot of his personal effects. If possible, I'd like to take a look at them. Do you know where it is?
The Fleuve Sonde. But the place was sealed up by the police after his death, and no one's been there since. I also know that the Fleuve Sonde is dangerous territory. Lots of hostile groups lurking around. If you're serious about going there, please be careful.
Understood. Lynette, you stay here and take care of Gemma. Don't let her come to harm.
Got it. But if I'm staying here, I'm ordering dessert.
I mean, bon appetit. But stay sharp, too. They're likely to come for you while I'm away.
Okay. All right. Power saving mode off. I'll start taking this more seriously now.
I'll just treat them as new samples.
If Gemma gave us the right location, then the workshop should be right nearby. Huh. Looks like these boxes are blocking the entrance. Let's shift them away first. There we go. It should be just down here.
Caesar's workshop. Nothing suspicious here, just normal magic props. Let's head in further. What was that? Oh, is this one of Caesar's gadgets? Guess we must have triggered some sort of device.
The wind knows me.
Shower me with...
One with nature. A moment, please.
Whoa. Look. The doll in the box is glowing. There's something written on the card on this doll. Let's take a closer look. The doctor will see you now. These magic boxes are moving. What do we do?
One of them looks different from the rest. Let's investigate.
Time to go.
That's weird. Have we reached the end already? There's nothing here. Maybe this was a wasted trip.
This place seems a little too ordinary for a magician's workshop. There's a distinct lack of mystery. We've triggered quite a few devices on the way here. I'm starting to wonder whether Caesar built this whole place as one big, elaborate magic contraption. If so, then there must be more to this place than meets the eye. Maybe a hidden room somewhere. Aha! If I just move this book, then hopefully... And... presto!
A secret passageway! How did you know?
I'm a magician too, and apparently great minds really do think alike. Looks pretty big inside. Let's head in and take a look around.
Wherever in this world I roam, I carry memories of my home. This blade, it is the last link I have to the land of my birth. There are leaves around, and I know just the tune to accompany them, if you wish to hear it. This scenery is wonderful. Surely enough to convince anyone to become a wanderer.
Strike a pop!
The wind knows me. One with nature.
Way now.
Why have you stopped, Lenny? Is there some device in that box?
It just looks familiar somehow. Let me check this out for a second while you guys go on ahead. If anyone makes a major discovery, let's rendezvous here.
All right, see you in a bit. Seems like we can't step on the same tile twice. Guess we've got to finish it in one run, huh?
I once considered keeping some pets in my office, but soon gave up on the idea. It's just not right to keep small animals where they won't be able to see the sun. Have you ever seen these stickers on my back? Do me a favor and take them off. Malazines like to play pranks sometimes.
Wow! There's a hidden room here! Let's see. This book's thick as a brick! Let's take a peek inside it, shall we?
At one of my shows a few days ago, a child asked me how I pulled candy out of my hat. As a joke, I told the kid that the hat has a built-in wish-granting machine. Next thing I know, today a whole bunch of kids were pestering me to pull all sorts of things out of the hat. So I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to power up, but in the meantime, you can write your wishes down. Well, they took me up on that offer, enthusiastically. As I write this, I've only just got back from running around all over town, buying the things they wanted. Boy, are my legs sore. I wound up saving very little this month, but that's not a major issue. I now have a bigger problem. How am I going to hide all these things inside my hat? 2 children came to talk to me after today's show. I don't know why they were out on their own. They looked much too young to be unsupervised. I do hope they got home safely. Anyway, they said that they wanted me to teach them how to do magic. It's not uncommon for children to ask this, of course, but I've never seen any of them as serious about it as these 2. I told them that learning magic is very hard work, but that didn't faze them at all. It's like they already knew. They seemed so committed. I couldn't turn them down. It seems like something's bothering Lorenzo lately, but he won't open up to me about it. Surely he's not upset that I agreed to teach those 2 children. I'll have to talk him around. I have a good feeling about those kids. They're naturally talented, and it seems like they're not new to the world of magic. They have all sorts of fantastic ideas. All I'm really doing is helping them develop a more professional standard training plan. They wanted to call me Master, but I told them they absolutely mustn't. Any magician worth their salt could have taught them what I have. They're the geniuses here. Compared to them, I don't deserve to be called any sort of master. With time, I have no doubt that they could become far greater magicians than I. My only concern is why they're so mature for their age. I fear they've had to grow up too fast. I don't dare to imagine what they must have been through. Gemma thinks so too. She doesn't like being around them. Says that their eyes are too piercing. They don't bother me, but then again, I've never been the sharpest tool in the shed. It's nearly time for me to go on tour. I asked the 2 kids if they'd like to come with me, but they shook their heads. I once overheard them talking about their father and their mission. Sounds like their parents have other plans for them. I guess we'll be parting ways soon. It's only been 10 days since I first met them. but I think that I've gotten a feel for their personalities now. They're very tough, but also very cautious, and they trust no one but each other. This, I fear, is not a good habit to have. They hide things from me too. For example, when I asked them where they live and why they wanted to learn magic, they lied. That's the thing about children. Whenever they're trying to cover something up, it always shows somehow. I can sense that their lives have been hard, possibly even dangerous too. They're not like other children. It's a shame that I can't do more to help them. After thinking things over, I decided to tell them a bit about how I see the world. It's full of lies and falsehoods, and that is why we must find our own truth. P.S. I hope they won't find my nagging annoying. Children are so opinionated nowadays. Will it do them more harm than good for someone they've only known 10 days to lecture them like that? P.P.S. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Children aren't interested in grand philosophies. It probably just went in one ear and out the other. I bet they've already forgotten every word I said. Oh, Caesar, Caesar. Just mind your own business next time.
Two magic geniuses with a father and a mission, huh? Sounds a lot like he was writing about Linny and Lynette, don't you think? So did they meet Caesar when they were kids? Let's go ask Linny! Linny?
Shh, hold that thought. As I expected, there's a lot of fishy things going on in this place.
Fishy? Uh-oh, what have you found?
All in good time. Before we go over our new leads, I want to tell you how a high-altitude escape is performed. First, the magician slots themselves into a magic box in full view of the audience. The box is then suspended high in the air, and a short while later, the base automatically opens. At this point, a dummy will fall out of the box, but it looks real enough to grab the audience's attention, and they start wailing and screaming. Meanwhile, the real magician, who has by now blended into the crowd, waits for a good moment to make their appearance and put on a hysterical performance. Oh no! Is that me? Did I just fall to my death?
Very vivid description. Paimon can really picture it. And then what?
The audience's gaze then turns to the magician, and by the time they realize what's happened, the dummy has vanished, as if everything that just happened was some sort of shared illusion. Of course, that's just how I think the process should work, theoretically speaking. The inventor of this trick never performed it successfully. When the box opened, Caesar was the one who fell out, and not the dummy. He fell right to the ground from the highest point of the opera house. No one could hope to survive that fall, not without a vision at least. And no one else has ever attempted this trick since. My understanding of how it works is just based on what I could gather from his notes and the relevant gadgets here in his workshop.
So Caesar's famous high-altitude escape has never been done, huh? Paimon was about to say how cool it would have been to see it in person, but if it's that dangerous, it's probably for the best that no one else tries to do it. Wait a second. So if a dummy's supposed to drop out of the box, then where does the real magician go? How does he get out?
Glad you asked. That brings us to the secret of said box. This box right here is the one that Caesar constructed himself to use in the performance, and it's not as simple as it looks. Inside, there's a device that only the magician himself would know about. Once the magician's inside and the box is lifted up into the air, the audience's view of the box is fixed at a certain angle. From where they're standing, they have a clear view of the front, sides, and bottom, but the back and the top are now no longer visible. At this point, the magician presses a button inside the box, opening a secret door out of view. He then escapes through this trap door onto the opera house roof, waits for the dummy to fall and distract the audience, and quietly returns to ground level.
That's way simpler than Paimon imagined. Even Paimon could probably do it.
Well, there's a little more to it than that, of course. The hardest part of this trick is controlling the audience's mood and reactions. That takes an exceptional degree of showmanship. There's the falling dummy, the miraculous reappearance, the pompous performing. Maybe the magician would even have themselves tied up before it begins to strengthen the impression that there's no escape. Many days and nights of careful research and painstaking practice would have gone into this, all culminating in a performance just a few minutes long, but one that still manages to transform the shock and grief of a tragic accident to the joy and laughter of a mesmerizing magic trick. Caesar was a highly accomplished magician, but unfortunately, even he didn't manage to pull it off.
So, how did it go so wrong? You said you found some fishy stuff here. Have you figured out what really happened?
I can make a pretty good guess. I looked into the case files. The magic box Caesar was using at the time of his death had the secret button I mentioned positioned on the right-hand side. And, sure enough, he always used his right hand as his dominant hand in public.
Okay. Nothing suspicious there.
But here's the strange thing. Most of the devices in this workshop have the mechanism on the left-hand side, including this box right here, which leads me to believe that Caesar was in fact left-handed. Because a magician can't afford to have their most basic habits stand out too much. People naturally focus their attention on the most important details of the task or situation at hand. But a magician needs to be able to redirect an audience's attention at will so as to avoid arousing their suspicion. The essence of magic is getting people to believe a lie. If even the truth raises eyebrows, the falsehoods become all the more difficult to mask. And so, Caesar trained himself to use his right hand to align with his audience's expectations. Great magic always requires sacrifices. But in his most stressful and nerve-wracking moments, and when no one was watching, reflex would kick in and he'd use his left hand. That's why he set his gadgets with the mechanism on his left. Exactly. I think that's likely what happened. Caesar would have been under a lot of time pressure during the escape. He'd have had mere seconds to open the hidden compartment, retrieve the dummy, then open the secret door and make a swift escape. But I'm sure he was confident. He would have rehearsed countless times to the point where it was second nature. He'd barely need to think about what he was doing because muscle memory would guide him through. So he opened the compartment, took out the dummy, checked everything was in order, and then went to leave. With his left hand, he reached for the button, and suddenly, his heart skipped a beat. It wasn't there. Much like when you reach for your keys but find your pocket empty, his mind needed a moment to process what was going on. Instinctively, his left hand would keep feeling around for the missing button, maybe for another second or two, until the bottom of the box gave way. With the stakes being as high as they were, just a 2-second delay cost him everything. The authorities would find nothing suspicious and conclude that his death was due to his own error.
But in reality, someone switched the boxes, and they did it to murder him. But how would they be able to make the switch without being noticed? That would be difficult to pull off, no?
It would have to have been someone who knew that he was left-handed and who could move his props around without arousing suspicion. Someone who was always by his side. Isn't that right, Lorenzo?
You just couldn't let sleeping dogs lie, could you? There's not a lot of people who'd go to all this trouble for some magician who died 10 years ago. I didn't want to have to do this, you know. Silencing you the hard way just creates more problems for me to deal with. But I gave you your chance. I hoped you'd do what's good for you and back off like the lady, but You disappoint me.
You mean Gemma? So you are the one who's been threatening her!
Yes, although however stubborn she might be, she was never much of a liability. But you people, you never even knew him, but for some reason you just wouldn't drop it. Which is why you can't leave this place alive. Take them out, and make it quick.
Do your worst!
Into the wind! Mind the side effect. Clouds high. The birds call. The wind knows me.
The doctor was seen.
You kids are tougher than you look.
Had enough yet, Lorenzo? Your cronies can't help you now. I think it's high time you started talking. And what I'd really like to know is, why did you murder Caesar?
If I had a mora for every time you said that man's name. Of course you idolized Caesar, everyone else did. But I was the real genius magician. Me! He was just an amateur who did cheap tricks for gullible children. I was the one who made magic into the fine art it is today. The aristocrats doffed their hats to me!
So it was jealousy.
Jealousy. Hatred, more like. I hated Caesar. All he cared about was his magic. He lived and breathed it. He poured everything into his street performances and his stupid tours like it was just a hobby to him, never bothering to think about Mora. What sort of fool devotes their life to the art of deception and never has a Mora to show for it? But the people loved him, didn't they? Oh, how they looked up to him. No one gave me a second look. All I ever heard was, "Oh, your master's amazing, isn't he?" Amazing. Yeah, so amazing that he was completely broke. Every other apprentice was living it up at their master's expense, but no, not me. I put in all the work, mastered all the skills, and it brought me nothing more than the life I already had. He forbade me from using magic to trick people out of their Mora. There was nothing he hated more than that. And with his reputation in Fontaine, it was too risky for me to go it alone. As long as he was alive, if I dabbled in my own brand of money-making magic, he would expose me, and it would destroy me. I had to kill him. There was no other way. He had to go.
And this was your only motive?
It was reason enough. What other motive would I need?
Well, I was under the impression that there might have been other factors at play. For instance, maybe you were in love with Gemma, but she was engaged to Caesar.
In love with Gemma? Don't be ridiculous.
Guess I was wrong about that then. Next question. Are you the Phantom Weasel?
I am. Caesar was so strict with me. He insisted that his way was the right way, that the sole purpose of magic was to bring joy to the world. I never bought into any of that. I was more interested in the practical value of magic. Sure enough, it helped me fill my pockets with all kinds of valuable treasures.
Oh, yeah! Charlotte told us that the weasel would steal whatever people valued, no matter how much he was worth.
That's just how it looked from the outside. What would any thief want with second-rate loot? I've only ever targeted high-value items. I stole cheap things as a way of practicing my craft. It was other people's overactive imaginations that conjured up the preposterous image they then dubbed the Phantom Weasel.
So, that's the story, huh? Well, I hope you're ready to tell it all over again during your trial.
What choice do I have? You're a pack of wolves, and you've got me between your jaws. You've seen what's here, and my last-ditch effort to stop it getting out has failed. What else can I do? So be it. I've enjoyed power and wealth for the last 10 years, the likes of which Caesar could never give me. I wouldn't choose for things to end this way, but I regret nothing.
Very well. In that case, I'll contact the guards. Traveler, Paimon, keep an eye on Lorenzo for me. I'll meet you just outside the workshop when I'm back.
At least I can finally stop looking over my shoulder now.
Lily has told me the whole story. Lorenzo, do you confess to the murder of Caesar and to framing him for the Phantom Weasel's crimes?
Look who's finally developed a conscience. What kind of disciple murders their own master? I hope it was worth it, because there'll be hell to pay.
Looks like it's all over. What should we do next, Lenny? Should we start preparing for your show?
Let me think. Let's rendezvous with Lynette and Gemma first. With Lorenzo in custody, Gemma will no longer have to fear for her safety.
Good point. We should go tell Gemma the good news right away. It'll give her some peace of mind for sure.
Ah, you're back. You were so quick. I've only just finished my third dessert.
Your third? Lynette, come on, we've talked about this. Everything in moderation. You're not gonna have any room left for dinner now.
It's fine. I'll shift to exercise mode and jog off the excess sugar.
That's besides the point. Well, it's done now, but try to eat a more balanced diet in the future.
Point taken.
Did everything go okay?
Of course! Lorenzo was no match for us. The guards are taking him into custody as we speak.
Gosh, that's amazing. I'm sorry, I still didn't know if I could trust you, but now it seems I can. I had my suspicions about Lorenzo, but
It's okay, we understand. He did threaten you. Paimon would find it hard to trust strangers in your position too. But you don't need to be scared anymore. Everything's gonna be okay.
Sorry. My emotions are all over the place right now. I've been waiting for this day to come for so long. I always wanted to report Lorenzo. He took all of Caesar's property, which I found suspicious. But I had people watching me all the time, so I couldn't risk looking into it. I was so afraid. I was scared he'd do something terrible to me, and then no one would be left to visit Caesar's grave. So I never had the courage to speak out. Thank you all. Truly. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for clearing Caesar's name. I never would have guessed that Lorenzo was the real Phantom Weasel. He never showed any signs that there were problems between him and Caesar in public. From the outside, it looked like they got along great. And to think that lowlife's been living life to the fullest all this time, while Caesar's name was getting dragged through the mud. It's a travesty. At least his soul can finally rest in peace now, thanks to your efforts.
If only I'd realized before it was too late.
Don't blame yourself, Gemma. This isn't your fault.
Yeah, you still have the rest of your life to live. Caesar wouldn't want to see you spending it feeling guilty.
Cheer up, Gemma. My brother's doing a magic show at the Opera House tomorrow evening. Would you like to come along? It might raise your spirits. This show will be a special one. We're holding it in Caesar's honor.
In Caesar's honor? Really? Oh, thank you. I'll be there.
Great. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Traveler, Paimon, don't be late.
Don't worry, we'll be there. No way are we gonna miss out on a free magic show. Wait, Paimon feels like we're forgetting something. Oh yeah, Caesar's diary! We never found out if the two kids Caesar taught magic to were Linny and Lynette or not. Linny changed the topic back in the workshop, so we didn't get a chance to bring it up. Oh well, guess we'll just have to ask Linny tomorrow evening.
When on the road, one should take ample time to pause and appreciate the wondrous scenery along the way.
You're about to collapse, aren't you? Paimon's excited to see another of Linny's magic shows! Wait. Lynette, shouldn't you be on stage by now?
Not this time. My brother's going solo today, so I'll be watching with you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody's ready because the show is about to begin. The great magician Linny has prepared a spectacular show for us all tonight, concluding with an all-new grand finale that no audience has ever seen before.
Wow! A new trick!
Thank you all so much for coming. Now, prepare to join me on a journey through the mystical and miraculous.
Exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yes, it's just... It reminds me of him.
No wonder. Caesar was a famous magician too. So, how did you two first meet, Gemma?
Well, I was out on the street once, and I saw him performing for little children. Children love magic, because they're willing to believe in things that can't be rationally explained. Caesar had this amazing way of bringing them into a dreamlike world. And somehow, I felt drawn to him too. So I went up and asked him to do a trick for me.
Aw, that sounds so romantic. What trick did he do?
It was with a flower. He took it in his hand, snapped his fingers, and it magically appeared on my head. I was so happy that day. No one had ever given me a flower before that.
Oh, that's so cute! Actually, now that you mention it, Linny's done that one before.
Is that right? Then I suppose he's a romantic at heart, just like Caesar. So let's treasure the time we have with him. After all, you never know when the people dearest to you might be gone.
That's right. It's all over now. Paimon doesn't really know how to comfort you, but at the very least, no one's gonna be intimidating you from now on. You can breathe easy at last, right?
Right. Yes, you can breathe easy now, Phantom Weasel.
See? Even Lynette says... Wait, what? The Phantom Weasel? Lorenzo escaped? Where is he?
What do you mean, Phantom Weasel?
As Linny once said, A performer's job is to commit fully to their role and put on a flawless performance for their audience. But once the bag of tricks is empty and the curtain falls, it's time to end the show. The spotlight is no place for someone with no more cards up their sleeve. It's been 10 years, Gemma. Aren't you tired of the grieving widow act? I think it's time to put an end to it.
What are you talking about? Paimon doesn't like this riddle. Traveler, Paimon doesn't like where this is going. Come on, say something!
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all enjoying the performance so far. There will now be a brief intermission, after which Lyney will perform the most electrifying act of tonight's show, the one we've all been waiting for. The final performance will take place outside of the Opera House, so please make your way outside in a calm and orderly fashion.
The Phantom Weasel never did like public places, did they? Don't worry, this place will be quiet soon. Let's talk somewhere else for now.
Dear me, this is awkward, isn't it? And unfortunately, I'm all out of gadgets, so I'm afraid I can't do any tricks to liven up the mood. This is a big mistake for a magician to make, but thankfully, I do have a backup plan. Now, who wants to hear a story?
Lyney? Don't we have more important things to address right now? Lynette accused Gemma of being the real Phantom Weasel a moment ago. Oh, what the heck's going on?
All in good time. Magicians are good at guessing what people are thinking. I know the questions you want to ask. And as it happens, the story I'm about to tell might answer a few of them.
Really? Well then, let's hear it! Paimon's dying of curiosity here!
Let's go back to the very beginning. A decade ago, when the Phantom Weasel was terrorizing the Court of Fontaine. She never missed a target, never left a trace, and no treasure was safe from her thieving hands. But as her infamy grew, so did the readiness of the police, and her opportunities to act became ever fewer. Every day, she ran the risk of being exposed for who she was. Of course, she could not simply take this lying down, and before long, she found her ticket to freedom. She would create a scapegoat, a false weasel to close the chapter on her behalf. After weighing her options, she set her sights on a renowned magician, Caesar. After all, magic and theft shared enough similarities for people to buy the story when the truth came out.
So then what?
Being the master deceiver she was, the weasel easily earned Caesar's trust. Now all that remained was to frame him for her countless crimes. But as she was considering how to make her move, she noticed Caesar's aggrieved pupil, and a new thought entered her mind. Maybe I don't need to get my hands dirty after all. At her encouragement, Lorenzo tampered with Caesar's magic box, causing him to fall to his death. Afterwards, Lorenzo seized his master's property, and the weasel set about tarnishing Caesar's reputation. Two co-conspirators committed the perfect crime.
I've got to hand it to you. You're both exceptional storytellers. It's enough to make even me wonder whether there was really another mastermind behind all this, pulling the strings. But I just have one question. You seem to think that I am the villain in this tale. What's brought this on, Lyney? Is it something that Lorenzo said?
Don't worry, Lorenzo said nothing at all. But I never believed that he was the weasel, and in fact, my investigation only made me more certain of that. He was too forthcoming with his confession, as if there was something else he was trying to hide.
How disappointing. So you'd sooner trust Lorenzo than me, even without a shred of evidence?
A magician is an expert at playing the audience to get the result they want. And I have no doubt that you, Gemma, are equally talented in this regard. With a little help from Lorenzo, you put on a very convincing performance. The lovesick fiancé, whose devotion to her betrothed is unshakable, even under threats of violence. Caesar was maligned and hated by all for 10 years, but you? Everyone sympathized with your plight. Who would suspect for 1 second that the lovely young lady always seen weeping in front of Caesar's grave was actually the mastermind behind his demise? No, not that poor lady. Perish the thought.
Wait, so you mean the whole intimidation thing was just a hoax? Gemma and Lorenzo were both in on it? But why would Lorenzo agree to that? And why didn't he sell her out even at the end instead of admitting to being the weasel himself?
Yes, why indeed? Maybe Gemma herself could enlighten us on that question.
Well, Linny, if you're so confident in your version of events, then I think the answer should be obvious. Having killed Caesar with his own hands, Lorenzo was plagued by overwhelming guilt. Revealing the Phantom Weasel's true identity would serve no purpose. But if the weasel remained free, then she could take care of Lorenzo's loved ones.
An excellent answer, though sadly a little dull.
Is that right? Well, don't let me bore you. If you'd care to change the topic to something more interesting, I'd be much obliged.
As a matter of fact, there's one thing I'd really like to understand. Why would the real weasel have targeted things that only have value to other people? Could you shed any light on that?
Of course. After all, we're just telling stories here, aren't we? If I had to guess, I would say that the real weasel must have had a terrible childhood. Left to fend for herself after her parents died young. Betrayed, scorned, beaten. She'd scrounge waste paper from garbage bins to draw on, using twigs and dirt for lack of ink and pen. She'd sew ugly rag dolls from whatever scrap material she could get her hands on. This was her only source of happiness in life. But it was all she needed, and she was content. Until the world decided that even this was too good for her. Once again, she was betrayed. And this time, everything was taken from her. She felt like life was a miry pit that dragged her further down the more she struggled to escape. At that tender age, she should have been happy. Instead, she stood in the shadows and watched with envy as all good things in the world passed her by. This was a fate too cruel for anyone to bear. Her pain became a breeding ground for dark thoughts. Thoughts which festered and grew into a twisted solution to her troubles. I detest the happiness of others, in all its forms alike. I will rob them of everything they hold to be good and true, and it will fill the void in my soul.
That's some pretty heavy stuff.
Now it all makes sense.
Does this story satisfy you, Linny?
Yes, it is quite to my tastes. Thank you for helping to clear up my confusion.
Huh. That's right. What drove you to write that letter, Gemma? What were you trying to achieve there? Because without that, none of this would have ever come to light.
She didn't write the letter.
After 10 long years, I'd hoped that the Phantom Weasel would be consigned to the history books by now. But it seems like someone still wasn't ready to let her finally be at peace. Linny. Or should I call you the Phantom Copycat now? You were the one who posted that letter outside the Opera House. But why?
Very sharp, Phantom Weasel. Still as shrewd as ever. Well, no need for me to be coy about it. Our goal was to clear Caesar's name. The most straightforward way to change the public's impression of Caesar was to force the Weasel to show themselves.
That's it? You had no other agenda?
Of course we did. We made it quite clear in the letter, I believe. I shall take from you that which you hold most dear, just as you did to me 10 years ago.
10 years ago? You mean Caesar's death? You met him? Wait. Oh, I get it. You were those two obnoxious kids. It's been so long, and you're all grown up now. I didn't recognize you. He taught you magic back then, didn't he? For what, 10 days or something? And you went to all this trouble. Why? Because you feel like you still owe him something?
We remember all our debts, however great or small. 10 years ago, Caesar's reputation was torn to shreds, and his legacy was thrown out. 10 years on, and no one cares what the truth is anymore. But we did not forget, and so we came to find you.
And? What exactly did you take from me? I'm still standing, as you can see. Lorenzo has admitted to everything. I'm free.
Free? Do you really think so? Caesar once told me that even though the world is filled with lies and falsehoods, we must find our own truth. I think that applies to you too. Truth can take many forms. Prized possessions with nostalgic value, fervent hopes and dreams, and irreplaceable people. Life took many things from you, and those wounds never healed. When they ached unbearably in the dead of night, stealing became your way of numbing the pain.
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that for the last 10 years, you've been living a rather uneventful life. Perhaps that's because you found something other than a life of crime to fill the hole? Back to Lorenzo for a second. He murdered his own master, played along with your act, and took pains to make sure any suspicion would be directed towards him. But what did he have to gain from all that? He knew who you were and the things you'd done, and despite that, he was willing to give everything up for your sake. He's the reason that you haven't felt the compulsion to steal in all these years. You're more than just accomplices in murder. You're the only real friends each other has. So I think you know, deep down, that he is the only truth you have in your life. But that truth is gone now. And I guarantee you, you'll never see it again.
Congratulations on your freedom, Gemma.
Your freedom will cost you dearly. From now on, you'll be all alone in a world full of lies and falsehoods. I do hope you'll be able to bear it. You've still got a long life ahead of you after all.
Gather round, one and all. The time has now come for the amazing Linny to perform his final act in tonight's show. I'm sure you're all wondering what he has planned for the grand finale. Well, wonder no more, for the answer is a death-defying high-altitude escape.
A high-altitude escape?
I'm sure you all remember the magician Caesar. This was the very trick that led to his fatal fall, after which he was dubbed the Phantom Weasel. But we have now learned that Caesar was wrongly accused, and that the real Weasel has now confessed to their crimes.
Guess that's my cue to leave. Whew. I've been practicing this one for ages now, but I'm Traveler, Paimon. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. There may be a lot of people watching tonight, but you alone are my true witnesses.
Lenny, wait. You two hid a lot from Caesar. He went to his grave without ever knowing your secrets. So what about now? Are you an open book? Or are you still the same as ever? You don't have to tell lies to end up isolated and alone. One day, you'll end up exactly where I am today. Maybe then you'll finally understand.
You're wrong. I'm nothing like you.
So, what are we, doing now?
Like Lenny said, When you're ready, let's head outside and watch the show.
But what about Gemma?
She'll figure out what's best for her soon enough. Oh, and if you'd like to see Lenny after the show, you know where he'll be. The usual haunt.
All right. Well, let's go and watch Lenny's finale then. This trick's a pretty dangerous one, but he should be able to pull it off, right?
Sometimes I think I'm like a gambling addict. All I care about is winning, and it doesn't matter what's at stake. By the time I come to my senses, I'm left with nothing. Oh, if I had my time again.
Magicians are not like thieves. Thieves only tear things apart. But good-hearted magicians, they put things back together.
Magic should be mysterious, surprising, and defy logic. Magic is hard work. Every single movement has to be practiced thousands of times.
It's alright. We're used to that.
We're sorry. You've taught us so much, but we can't tell you the whole truth.
It's okay. Do you still remember what I told you? This world is full of lies and falsehoods. I only hope that one day you can find your own truth.
What about you? Have you found your truth?
Magic is my truth. I want to perform a magic trick so great that people will always think of me when they talk about it. For a magician, what greater honor could there be?
Look! Behold! Lenny is sealed inside the box. Will he manage to escape? 10 years ago, Caesar attempted this very trick, and it was at this precise moment that...
Lenny! Watch out!
Mysterious. Surprising. And logic-defying. Isn't that right? This honor belongs to you, Caesar. I'm just sorry it's a little late.
Did you see that? 1 minute he was falling, and the next, he turned into flowers.
How could he possibly have done that?
How mysterious. I didn't blink once. He just vanished, right in front of my eyes.
What a heart-stopping magic show. This was really worth the trip. Caesar's name has finally been cleared, and Fontaine's new star magician Lenny has fulfilled a wish on his behalf. Oh, I couldn't ask for a better grand finale. It will make a great headline for the Steambird tomorrow, even if I do say so myself.
Whew. Looks like everyone really loved Lenny's grand finale. Paimon doesn't see Lenny anywhere. Where'd he go? Oh, Lynette said he'd be waiting for us at the usual haunt. But, where is that? Oh, you mean the one where Caesar's buried? Yeah, that's probably it. This whole magic show kinda seemed like Lenny's way of saying goodbye to Caesar. so it makes sense that that's where he'd be afterward. Alright, let's go look for him there. Paimon was scared to death when the chain broke. Paimon was sure something had gone horribly wrong.
Magic is a performance art. A magician has to get creative to keep the audience on tenterhooks. That's our job. So I tweaked Caesar's original setup a little to keep it fresh. I was honestly a little nervous during the live performance. The thought of falling, suddenly feeling weightless, seeing the sky and the ground spinning and spinning. Sometimes, I can't help but wonder what Caesar thought in those final moments. Did he regret taking Gemma and Lorenzo on? Or did he believe that it was his own slip-up right until the end?
You know, Paimon's been wanting to ask you about something ever since we were in Caesar's workshop. You learned magic from Caesar once, didn't you? When was that?
After I joined the House of the Hearth. To be honest, Lynette and I had an agenda when we approached him. I told you about my past before, remember? As a young boy, I survived by secretly learning magic from street performers. I'd watch their tricks and try to figure out how they were done. But I quickly realized that observation alone could only get me so far. What I saw was the polished final performance, but the rigorous training they put in behind the scenes remained invisible to me. I needed to learn how to improve my sleight of hand, hone my misdirection skills, and make niftier props. We were gifted enough that we'd made some progress by ourselves, but without proper guidance from a professional magician, we quickly plateaued.
So that's why you sought Caesar out?
Yes. We figured there was no harm in asking, but it took us by surprise that he was so willing to teach us. In all, we only spent 10 short days together, but he was very good to us. By contrast, we hid so many things from him. For instance, when he asked why I wanted to learn magic, I answered, "It's my passion." But in truth, there was already a lot more to the story by then. After being taken in by an aristocrat for our magic talent, then betrayed soon after, this was no longer about me doing what I loved. What amazed me was how the lie escaped my lips even as I was hesitating over whether to tell him the truth. Trust is a beautiful thing. Sadly, I'd forgotten how to trust by then.
Winnie.
Still worried about the way I feel? You really are a gentle soul, aren't you? But don't worry, I'm used to it now. From the mansions of the elite to the House of the Hearth, lies and selfishness have followed me and Lynette everywhere we go. After Caesar went on tour, we became busy with our missions. The next we heard of him was that he'd fallen to his death, and was now declared to be the Phantom Weasel. That night, I remembered his smile. But as I lay there, I didn't know what to say to him. To keep secrets is to put up walls. The longer you keep them up, the less you let people in. Then, one day, you look around and realize your life is like an empty auditorium after a show, full of seats once occupied by all the people who left. But I guess that's the price we have to pay. You only realize how much someone really meant to you when you lose them completely. That's why I was so confident this would hurt Gemma. Because I felt it for myself.
Yeah, cheer up, Winnie. We've had to say our fair share of goodbyes during our journey, too. But whatever happens, Paimon always believes in what tomorrow brings. Delicious food, fun toys, and the Traveler by my side. Paimon just needs to focus on things like this and all the unhappy stuff goes right out the window. You know, Traveler, doesn't that kinda make you Paimon's truth?
Exactly. It's the same for me and Lynette. We are the truest thing each other has in the world, and nothing can replace that. Life has taken plenty from us, like it did from Gemma. But at least it left us with each other. That's what gave us the strength to get through the darkest days. That's why the darkness never consumed me, and why it never will. Maybe we live in the shadows too, but we remember every precious ray of light that shines through. All right, time to lighten this conversation up a little. What did you think of the show tonight? Were you happy with it?
It was amazing! Paimon just wishes we hadn't been so distracted with the Gemma situation. We spent most of our time in the Opera House just talking and pretty much missed the entire first half of the show. Lenny, could you do just one more trick for us?
Whoa, that's a bit of a tall order, I'm afraid. The show's just finished, so my sleeves are decidedly card-free right now.
Aw, come on! Surely you can think of something. The Lenny Paimon knows can do anything if he puts his mind to it.
Oh, all right then. I'll give it a go, but only because it's you. Watch closely. I have a flower in my hand.
You liar! There's nothing in your hand! We ain't going along with this!
Huh? My goodness, you're right. But I could have sworn I brought one here with me. Okay, try this. Count down with me. 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1!
Now, have another look around. Maybe the flowers appeared somewhere else.
Really? Let's see. Wow, there it is! Oh, this is a different flower from the last time, right? This one's called, oh yeah, a rainbow rose. But more importantly, Paimon has to know how the trick is done. Please, Lenny, pretty please!
Well, if you want to learn magic, you'll have to start by addressing me as teacher.
Fine. Please, teacher, please!
Since you asked so nicely, I'll share one little tip with you. Namely, the student of magic cannot solely rely on others being prepared to reveal their secrets. You have to observe, think, and find the answers for yourself.
Is that it?
Look at the time. We shouldn't linger here too long. Thanks again for coming to see my show. I bid you both good night. I look forward to seeing you again.
All right, fine. See ya. Shall we head back now, too? Oh, Paimon can't wait to read The Steambird tomorrow. Paimon bets Lenny and Caesar will be plastered all over it. Let's head to the Steambird's offices tomorrow morning and see what we can find out.
It's pouring out here. Wait, the water levels aren't rising, are they? The sun feels almost as hot as those studios.
I'm very sorry, Charlotte, but my sister and I are quite busy today. I'm afraid we'll have to decline this interview.
Oh, please, Lenny, I'll only take a moment of your time, if you would be so kind.
Huh? What's happening here?
I spent all night writing my piece about the Phantom Weasel, and it was going to go to print this morning, but just as dawn broke, I suddenly received news that Caesar's fiancée, Gemma, had contacted the guards and confessed to having been the real Phantom Weasel all along.
That was quick.
Hmm?
Too late, bro.
That was quick, you say? It sounds like I've got some catching up to do. Please, fill me in.
Whoops.
Aha! My instincts did not lead me astray. You do have something to hide. Gemma turning herself in must have something to do with Linny's performance last night.
Maybe watching my high-altitude escape trick reminded her of a better time with Caesar, and she could no longer ignore the voice of her conscience.
Huh. Okay, then. Wait, no, there must be more to it. If that's all it took for her to have a change of heart, how did it take her 10 whole years?
Well...
Oh, I remember now! You and Gemma were nowhere to be found after the show. What happened between you? Quickfire question! Where did you all go after the show?
Oh, we went to the cemetery and Linny did a private magic trick just for us. Actually, glad you mentioned it, because that reminds Paimon. Guess what? Linny started using rainbow roses in his tricks.
What? I don't recall ever having received a rainbow rose from you myself. Is this supposed to mean that they're more important to you than your own sister?
No, I just,
What now? Oh, did Paimon say something wrong again? This is getting pretty awkward. What do we do, Traveler?
Seems like this interview wasn't meant to be. Well, never mind. There's always next time. Forgive my persistence, but when there's explosive news waiting to be found, I can't turn away. The news about Gemma has already made waves, and I'll stop at nothing to get to the bottom of it all. Apparently, one of the things she said to the guards was that her final wish is to see Lorenzo one last time. There's clearly a web of complicated relationships there. Can't blame me for being curious. All right, I guess I'll leave you to continue the rest of your conversation in peace. Bye for now.
Lynette? Paimon didn't mean to...
Don't worry, I wasn't angry. I was just trying to distract her.
Oh, really? Oh, thank goodness. You scared Paimon there.
Phew. You and me both, Paimon. You and me both. At least it did the job, right?
Please, take good care of that rainbow rose. I'd be really upset if you lost it.
Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much? Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you.
Into the wind!
What's your name, buddy? Are you here to buy some medicine? Where are your mom and dad?
Are you lost?
No, I'm not. My name's Ayu, and I'm here because...
Hey there, Chi-Chi! Hi, Gui! What's going on?
Hi, Traveler and Paimon.
You've actually come at the perfect time. This little boy seems to have gotten himself lost. I think he must be new to the city. Probably wandered away from his parents and...
No, listen to me! I'm not the one who's lost. It's my dad.
Your dad? How does a fully grown man manage to get lost in Liyue Harbor?
Well, my dad's always been kind of forgetful. In the past, he was just a little slow to react sometimes. But I'm worried that it's getting more serious.
So, what about your mom?
She went out a few days ago to gather some herbs for my dad, but she still hasn't come back. Meanwhile, my dad's been getting worse and worse. I remembered that the owner of Boo Boo Pharmacy always runs a clinic in Chingsa Village during the Lantern Ride, so I thought, why don't I take Dad to Liyue Harbor to see him there? When we got to the city gate, I took a moment to ask the Millith guards for directions to the pharmacy. And then, when I turned back around, my dad was gone! I asked the Millith guys to go find him, but he said they won't be able to send that many people. So then I figured, maybe I can ask some other people in the city to help.
You came to the right place. We're pros at finding people. Isn't that right, Traveler?
Changshen can help. She has a good sense of smell, like a dog.
Hey, who's talking about me behind my back?
Chengsheng, Chi-Chi meant that as a compliment. There's no need to be upset. Hello, child. You mentioned that you were looking for the owner of Boo Boo Pharmacy. How might we be of service?
You have a talking snake? Oh, are you Uncle Baizhu?
Uncle Baizhu?
Chengsheng, now's not the time. My dear boy, could you tell me more about your father's condition? As much as you can recall.
Yes, Dr. Baizhu.
I see. And your family lives near Chingsa Village, you say? I visit patients there frequently, but I don't recall ever seeing you or your parents.
Uh-huh. My mom doesn't like meeting other people, especially during Lantern Ride. She always tells me to just stay at home and keep my dad company.
Is that so? Ayu, by any chance, is your mother's name Jiangli?
Whoa, yeah, it is! Do you know my mom, Dr. Baizhu?
I certainly do. Gui, Chi-Chi, are there any pressing matters in the pharmacy at the moment? Ayu's parents are old acquaintances of mine, so I would very much like to assist with the search. Would the two of you have time to join me?
Don't forget us two! We already told Ayu that we'd help!
Oh, really? Well, that's wonderful. We are most grateful for your support.
Chi-Chi and I need to clear up the shop front first, but once that's taken care of, we'll be right out to help you with the search.
Family is very important.
Thank you. Then I'll leave you to handle the pharmacy. Traveler, Paimon, why don't you come with me and Ayu? Let's start by talking to the Millelith guards at the city gates, see if they have an update.
Can you believe that little boy brought his father all this way to see the doctor? Oh, what a remarkable child. I didn't even know how to buy medicine by myself when I was his age.
His family. We have to find them.
We searched to the north, but couldn't find anyone who matched the description.
Well, that complicates things. The city folks say there's no sign of him either. We need to start looking further afield. But where are we gonna get the people?
Excuse me, sirs. Have you found out anything about my dad yet?
Ah, hey there, buddy. Dr. Baiju. What brings you out this way?
The boy asked for our help, so we're here to join the search. Any new developments to update us on?
Oh, thank goodness. We were just discussing how we're running out of manpower. As for updates, I'm sorry to say that we've searched the surrounding area thoroughly, but didn't find anything.
The guards at the crossing up ahead said they hadn't seen anyone either, so we don't believe he was heading towards the Guili Plains. But it is possible that he was bound for Luhua Pool.
Luhua Pool? The terrain there can be tricky to navigate. Let's hope he hasn't run into any trouble.
You will? Oh, great. We can't thank you enough.
Sorry we weren't able to find your dad, buddy.
That's okay. Thank you for trying. Dad! Dad, can you hear me?
Look! There's somebody over there! Oh no! It's... Hey, you! Stop! Don't go any further! Watch where you're going! Oh, dear customer, Wangsheng Funeral Parlor does appreciate your patronage, but you needn't hasten the inevitable. Are you all right? Huh?
Dad!
Hey, Hu Tao!
My, who do we have here? It's the Traveler in Paimon, and, my worst nightmare.
I see she still hasn't warmed to you.
Thank you, Director Hu, for saving this man.
Dad, are you okay? Do you recognize me? It's me, Ayu.
You're... Ayu? Who am I?
Your name is Jia Liang, and you live just west of Qingce Village. You were supposed to come to Liyue Harbor to see the doctor. Remember? Does that jog your memory?
Oh, my name is Jia Liang. Liyue Harbor. See the doctor? Yes, I'm Jia Liang, and I need to see the doctor. Wait, why do I need to see the doctor?
Uh-oh. He seems in really bad shape. We need to get him back to Boo Boo Pharmacy right away. Sorry, Hu Tao. Gotta dash. Dinner's on us next time.
Hold on a second. You're not seriously thinking of taking him to Boo Boo Pharmacy in this state, are you?
Huh? Why not? What's the problem?
Come on, Baizhu. Don't tell me you haven't noticed it. Didn't your master teach you how to spot the signs? Why do I get the sense that you spotted them right away, but you're planning to use it for your own ends?
Use what? What are you talking about? Paimon's lost.
There are traces of God remains in Jia Liang's system.
Yes, but more importantly, they're on the verge of an outburst. If that happens, the consequences will be unthinkable.
Paimon, sorry. What?
God remains?
There's no need to worry, Director Hu. I have methods of keeping them at bay. It is the sworn duty of all who practice medicine to cure illnesses and save lives. What reason would I have to neglect a patient in need who is right there in front of me? Besides, it was my late master's dying wish to be able to save this patient in particular. Perhaps out of respect for him, you could give me a day's grace so that I have time to treat him?
Now you're bringing my great-uncle into this? Baizhu, just what are you planning this time?
Merely to cure this man, nothing more. But of course, if you have any doubt as to my intentions, you are more than welcome to accompany me to Boo Boo Pharmacy and monitor my activities.
Oh, really? I thought I was persona non grata at Boo Boo Pharmacy. You're being unusually generous today. Okay, deal. We're not gonna solve anything by keeping Jia Liang here. I'm happy to do it your way, but only for my great-uncle's sake and the travelers, of course.
You must be pleased you brought the traveler along. Otherwise, this would have been a much more vexing ordeal.
Well, time is of the essence. Let's get ourselves back to Boo Boo Pharmacy at once. Blockages within the cardiovascular system. Reduced blood flow and energy circulation? I see. I suppose this must have caused the cognitive abnormalities.
Dr. Baizhu, how bad is it? Can you cure him?
Don't you worry. Baizhu's a really great doctor. He's sure to find a way. Isn't that right, Baizhu?
Ayu, do you know when your father first started displaying these symptoms?
I'm not sure. He's been like this for as long as I can remember. But it wasn't as bad as this when I was still little.
So it's been a long time indeed. No, I have a treatment plan in mind. We can start tonight. Come and see me again tomorrow morning. I promise that by then, Ayu will find his father healthy and lucid again.
Thank you, Dr. Baizhu. Thank you so much.
If you still have any misgivings, Director Hu, please feel free to hang around for as long as you wish.
However, it would be best if you step outside this room. A doctor must be able to focus when treating a patient. Any distractions heighten the risk of complications.
Yes, of course, absolutely. I'll just go and look at the flowers or something. But I will be back in an instant at the first sign that something's amiss.
See you tomorrow, Baizhu and Chang-Chang.
Bye for now, everyone.
Are you ready, Baizhu?
Ready as I'll ever be. I'm used to it by now. Come on, let's get started.
All's well that ends well, huh? You know, Paimon's kind kind of curious after hearing Baizhu mention those people from his past. What do you think they were like? Yeah, you must be curious too, right? Let's go see what we can find out while Baiju's busy treating Ayu's dad.
While I'm idling time on admiring the scenery, the spectacled, snake-bedecked docs doing surgery. Hello, you busy bees, and what do you have to discuss with the funeral director today? Actually, don't tell me. Let me guess. From the looks on your faces, you've got some questions for me.
Guilty as charged. So, we were just a little curious about Baiju's master. What was he like? Oh, and also, how come you and Baizhu could tell so quickly that Jialiang had god remains in his system?
Huh? I thought I told you once before. Wangsheng Funeral Parlor was first founded to fight back against the vengeful wrath of gods defeated in war. Well, it is a dusty old tale by this point. Long story short, in the ancient world, dead gods were acting up, so our ancestors started purifying the air and burning the bodies of the deceased to guard the border between life and death. These days, we don't deal with the wrath of the gods anymore, but all the relevant know-how is still passed down to each generation, so we can identify gods' remains when we see them.
Okay, Paimon gets it now. Wait, so how did Baizhu learn to spot them?
Almost certainly from his master, who was also my great-uncle. Baiju's master was my grandpa's younger brother, a former deputy director of Wangsheng Funeral Parlor.
Wow, fancy that! Huh. So, if he was from Wangsheng Funeral Parlor, how did he end up as Baiju's master?
According to my grandpa, he and my great-uncle once went traveling together when they were young. They ended up at Chenyu Vale, where they met a pharmacist. That pharmacist must have cast some sort of spell on my great-uncle, because after that encounter, he suddenly announced he wanted to leave the family business and go practice medicine instead. My grandpa had a huge argument with him, but he couldn't convince him to stay. So my grandpa inherited the funeral parlor, while my great-uncle stayed in Chenyu Vale to practice medicine. They never spoke to each other again.
Funeral director to doctor is a pretty big career change. Kinda hard to imagine. But why did it drive a wedge between them for the rest of their lives? That seems a bit extreme.
If he had just become a regular doctor, there would have been no issue. After all, the Wangsheng Funeral Parlor wasn't unlike a regular doctor's clinic in the early days. But according to my grandpa, the pharmacist they met had a very ominous aura about him. And on top of that, the kind of medicine practiced in the Chenyu Vale tradition goes against the natural order of things.
In what way?
Don't know. My grandpa didn't know the specifics. And you've seen how wary Baizhu is around me. He'd never tell me anything. But even that says to me that he definitely has something to hide. One thing I do know about Baizhu is that he's obsessed with the idea of immortality. But whether that has anything to do with what he's hiding is hard to say. Anyway, so I will be sticking around here for now to keep a close eye on the situation. Maybe tomorrow I'll finally figure out what he's up to.
After all that, it seems like we have more questions than answers. It's a new day! Let's go back to Boo Boo Pharmacy and check out how Jialiang is doing.
Oh, are you?
Dad, you remember me!
Yes, I remember now. Oh, are you? I'm so sorry. You must have been worried sick. Has your mom shown up yet? She's been gone for a while, hasn't she?
Don't worry, Dad. I got the Adventurers Guild to help us look for her. And Dr. Baiju's gonna help too. Right now, all you need to do is concentrate on getting better.
Great. That's wonderful. I can't thank you enough, Dr. Baiju.
My pleasure, really. It's the least I can do to honor my late master's dying wish. If anything, I should be apologizing to you for not making the time to visit in all these years.
Not at all, Dr. Baiju. It's only because Jiang Li... What was her reason again?
You're still in the early stages of recovery, so you'll need to take it easy for a while. Take it slowly and try not to overexert yourself.
I suggest you stay at Boo Boo Pharmacy and rest for at least the next few days.
Director Hu, do you have any further reservations about Jia Liang's condition?
It seems like the evil presence is gone after all. You really did manage to suppress it, huh? But how did you accomplish this in a single night?
That would be a trade secret, I'm afraid. If that gives you any cause for concern, you may continue to monitor Jia Liang for as long as you wish. Though I regret to say that Boo Boo Pharmacy cannot offer to reimburse Wang Sheng Funeral Parlor for any revenue lost in the meantime.
Oh, come on, Baiju. I'm not that unreasonable.
I've been stuck indoors for too long. Baiju, take me outside for some air, or I'm going to suffocate.
Yes, of course. Everyone, please excuse Qiangsheng and myself for a moment.
Suffering now, are we? Did you seriously expect to cover it up just by putting on a brave face and ignoring it? If it weren't for my quick thinking, they'd have all seen the sorry state you're in by now. But in any case, why must you keep this a secret from everybody? You should at least share your secret with one person you trust.
Who's there? Why did you follow us here? Oh, it's nothing. I just needed to get some air.
What did I just say about putting on a brave face? Traveler, Paimon, the truth is, Baiju did not cure Jialiang's illness. Instead, he transferred some of his own life force to his patient to temporarily subdue the poison in his system. Baiju, can you please explain all of this?
My predecessors in medicine forged a contract with Qiangsheng. Every successor to this contract is able to use Qiangsheng's secret art to treat patients. I believe the irregularities with Jia Liang's heart meridian were likely caused by a poison concocted using god remains as a key ingredient. The poison has not been purged from Jia Liang's system. Rather, I infused him with some of my own life force, using Qiangsheng as the delivery medium. This will suppress the poison's effects for a limited time.
Qiangsheng? You can do that? Huh. Paimon always thought thought you were just Baiju's strange choice of a necklace. Hey, I'll have you know that I commanded the respect of even the Adepti back in Chenyu Vale. If anything, he is my mannequin. I was treating patients with Baiju's master's master long before he ever set eyes on his first medical text. Whoa. Guess you shouldn't judge a snake by its skin.
Please, that's enough.
Wait a sec. Huto was saying that the branch of medicine you studied uses some pretty dubious methods. So, when you transfer your life force, does that mean you're actually damaging your own body?
Hardly. Jiangsheng helps to keep my chi in balance, so there is no great harm done.
Still, Baiju's life force is not unlimited. We must find a way to neutralize the poison in Jialiang's body. And soon. Traveler, Paimon, would you lend this dummy a hand? He needs someone checking up on him, or he'll exhaust himself trying to accomplish everything on his own. Baiju, don't you think you should seize this opportunity? You cannot expect to hide this from everyone for your entire life. Time will see that all secrets surface eventually.
Entire life. Thank you, Traveler and Paimon.
Huh. Paimon doesn't think we've seen this side of you. But there's no need to thank us. You've helped us out before.
The poison in Jialiang's system must have accumulated over a prolonged period. I think I should pay a visit to their family home and look for clues as to how he might have been exposed to it. Yes, I asked Ayu this morning before you arrived. He told me that his family lives in a secluded spot to the west of Qingsa village. Let's head there together once I've asked Gui and Qiqi to look after the pharmacy. As well as investigating Jialiang's exposure to the poison, we should also keep an eye out for Ayu's missing mother, my fellow disciple Jiang Li.
There are leaves around, and I know just the tune to accompany them, if you wish to hear it. Wherever in this world I roam, I carry memories of my home. This blade, it is the last link I have to the land of my birth. There are leaves around, and I know just the tune to accompany them, if you wish to hear it.
Whoa! There's a house all the way out here? Huh. It's so well hidden, Paimon's never noticed it before.
Nor have I. And I've hosted clinics at Qingsa Village many times in the past. If you ask me, Jiang Li was trying to remain unnoticed.
Oh, that reminds Paimon. We meant to ask earlier, but it slipped our minds in the rush to get here. Could you tell us more about Jiang Li? You said she was your fellow disciple, right?
She was indeed. We studied medicine together under the same master near Chenyu Vale. She is several years older than I and also began her travels far earlier than me. As a result, the time I spent studying alongside her was rather short.
Supposedly, she met an herb gatherer sometime during her travels and decided to settle down with him. That must have been Jialiang. Wait, Changsheng, are you saying neither of you had actually met Jialiang or Ayu before all of this?
Jiang Li did occasionally come back to Chenyu Vale to see our master, but for whatever reason, she hardly ever talked about her family. The last time she visited us, she and Master had some sort of quarrel. We never heard from her after that. It almost seemed as if she'd gone into hiding.
Quarrel? What happened? I don't know. I did not witness the argument myself.
Nor did Master ever explain it to me. All he would say is that should I ever encounter Jiang Li or her family in the future, I should do everything in my power to help them.
Oh, so that's why you went to such extreme lengths to help Jialiang.
No. Even if my master had never said anything, it would still be my duty as a doctor to help him. My decision would have remained the same.
Paimon never knew you were so selfless, Baizhu. Paimon always had you down as the sneaky, scheming type. Sorry.
So a few words from me is enough to dispel all your suspicions, You ought not be quite so quick to relax your guard, Paimon. Sometimes even the good guys have their own private agenda.
What the... Okay, that was the most suspicious-sounding thing you've ever said.
Let's leave the idle chatter there for now, Jiang Li has lived in this house for many years. There must be something here that can shed a little light on this whole situation. Let's split up. But if anyone finds anything, we'll examine it together.
Traveler, Paimon, come quick! What is this?
Changsheng and I found a hidden compartment. This is what was hidden inside.
You sense it too? You're right. This is a poison concocted using god remains. Is it? Breathing? Paimon's not seeing things, is she?
No, your eyes do not deceive you. I do believe the poison in this bottle is alive. Some toxins act a lot like living organisms. I read about this once in The Origins and Symptoms of Diseases. This ancient class of poisons consists of mother and minor loads, capable of sustaining a connection over vast distances. If it's a concoction of this kind we're dealing with, then both the poison in Jialiang's system and this one here are likely minor loads. Offshoots, essentially.
Offshoots? So, the main body is somewhere else?
Correct. Whoever is administering the poison can manipulate the source to indirectly control the poisoned individual's behavior and even cognition. Similarly, the poisoned individual will hear, to a varying extent, the call of the source.
The call of the... Wait, so back when Jia Liang ran off, maybe that explains where he was heading!
Only one thing could have been drawing him there. The source of the god remains used as the poison's key ingredient, the mother lode.
This is getting crazier and crazier. What kind of person would do all this just to poison Jia Liang? Hey, why has everyone gone quiet all of a sudden?
Since this poison was carefully hidden away in a secret compartment, the one who concocted it is likely a resident of the house.
You mean Jia Liang? Why would he poison himself?
Think a little harder, Paimon. Someone else who lives here, and who might have expertise in crafting drugs.
Huh? So you're saying... it was Jiang Li? Wait, but that doesn't make any sense either! Why would she poison her own husband?
I agree. It makes little sense. Jiang Li does not strike me as the kind of person who would do such a thing.
Look at the facts, though. How many people in the entirety of Liyue have the ability to concoct a poison from god remains?
It's too early to draw any conclusions. We should question Jia Liang about it once he has made more progress in his recovery. Yes. According to the origins and symptoms of diseases, the minor lodes will disappear if the mother lode is purged. So if we can find and destroy the source of these god remains, the poison will leave Jia Liang's system without the need for any further treatment. Do you know anything about god remains in Qingce village?
Even the history books have no record of this. The only ones who'll know anything are those old fogies who have been hanging around here since the beginning of time.
Didn't you used to be on good terms with the Adepti, though? You sure they didn't tell you anything about this?
Well,
Changsheng's memories and powers are not what they were in her prime. These days, she has to enter a contract with a mortal and share their life force just to sustain her own life. I fear that such ancient events are long gone from her memory by now.
Whoa, what? After a contract? Share life force? Sounds like some pretty spooky sorcery if you ask Paimon.
Hey! Plenty of people would jump at the chance to join forces with a powerful being like me. With my assistance in rebalancing your chi, not only can you extend your lifespan, but you will also be stronger, healthier, and able to eat whatever you like with no risk of upsetting your stomach.
Stronger and healthier? Wow, that's amazing! Baizhu, maybe when you retire, you can let Paimon sign a contract with Changsheng for a few days.
Unfortunately, Changsheng's contract has strict requirements regarding the host's temperament. None of her hosts have ever been exempted from these rules. I fear that I will be unable to accommodate your wishes, Paimon.
Temperament? Hey! What are you trying to say? Did you just subtly insult Paimon to her face? Ugh! Paimon's mad! You're getting ugly nicknames, both of you! Baizhu, you're Mannequin Man! Changsheng, you're just a pain in the neck!
This is exactly why your natural temperament makes you woefully unsuited to being my host.
All right, everybody, calm down. Back to the matter at hand. Is there any way at all for us to seek counsel from the Adepti about this?
With how antisocial they are, if it were up to them, they'd go their whole lives without showing their faces to the common folk. What?
Seems you're as well connected as they say, traveler. We are truly fortunate to have you on our side.
Oh, if you're talking about who Paimon thinks you're talking about, you better do the honors.
You called?
Ah! Ugh, gets Paimon every time. time. Are all Adepti in the habit of materializing out of thin air like this?
Well, this is unexpected.
Huh? It's you.
Baizhu of Bubu Pharmacy. I do believe I've had the pleasure before. The Lantern Rite, when we met briefly, I was unaware of your true identity. I must apologize for the discourtesy.
Huh? You two already know each other?
Our paths have crossed once before. I sense the presence of evil spirits. Is this why you called me? So someone has been concocting demonic poison. Too often, fervent desires drive mortals to abandon all regard for their own safety. It is lamentable. I now know what you seek. It is true that a god's remains are buried beneath the foundations of Qingce Village. A vile monster known as the Che once wrought havoc over this land, before it was subdued by Rex Lapis. The land was finally cleansed of poison when Rex Lapis used statues in his likeness to seal the serpent's remains. Qingce Village was founded some time after that. The seal is still mostly intact. If the Che is the source, then it must be some of its blood leaking from deep underground. However, its aura is faint and barely detectable. You will need to investigate further to identify the location of the leak. I do not like to intervene against mortals unless absolutely necessary. But when demonic forces are involved, things can spiral out of control. If that happens, be sure to call my name again. Nothing. I do not wish to sway decisions that are mortals to make, but immortality may not be the blessing that you imagine it to be.
I shall treasure your words of instruction, Master Adeptus.
Farewell.
What a strange Adeptus. Rather different from the way I remember them. That's Xiao for ya! And thanks to him, we finally got some concrete info to go off of.
If the god remains are leaking from underground, Jiangli must be paying a visit to a subterranean cave on her herb-gathering trips. If we can find the cave...
Master, there's a problem.
Gui? Did you run all the way from Bubu Pharmacy?
What happened? Don't panic. Just catch your breath and tell me everything.
It's Jiaoyang. He was fine one minute, and then he suddenly took a turn for the worse.
Already? How? Based on past experience, he should have been fine for the next 3 days at least.
It seems that my worst fears have been confirmed. Everyone, back to Bubu Pharmacy now!
Wherever in this world I roam, I carry memories of my home. This blade, it is the last link I have to the land of my birth. This scenery is wonderful. Surely enough to convince anyone to become a wanderer. Wherever in this world I roam, I carry memories of my home. This blade, it is the last link I have to the land of my birth. This scenery is wonderful. Surely enough to convince anyone to become a wanderer. Wherever in this world I roam, I carry memories of my home. This blade, it is the last link I have to the land of my birth.
Yeah.